Hello, everyone. Chuck Ramsey, the Lawdog, here with you on Western Oklahoma Sports Night, powered by Lawdog Sports. And I tell you what, we are rolling out the content. You need to make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, as well as our SoundCloud page, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify, you name it, we're there. Still working with the Apple Corporation to find out why we can't get our podcast on there, but hey, there's plenty of other options. And like I said, if you go to lawdogsports.com, you can find our content. And a special episode today as we keep track of coaching moves within the state of Oklahoma, particularly with regards to schools that I'm related to. And one of those would be Weatherford High School girls basketball, as head coach Greg Pratt announced he was stepping down from the position after one season. But here recently, the Weatherford School Board announced that they have made some hires and two familiar faces. So good to see the hiring go in-house sometimes, and I'm really glad in this situation for sure. Today on the show, we've got Callie Haworth, the new head basketball coach for Weatherford girls basketball, and Shelly Pond, a former head coach and former assistant, and just always there for the Weatherford basketball program. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us here on Western Oklahoma Sports Night.
Yeah, thank you for having us. Glad to be here.
Yeah, and we'll start with you, Coach Haworth. How about that? I kind of got to know you last season as you were on Coach Pratt's staff, and really just a heck of a season for the Lady Eagles last year. Considering the lack of experience that was on that team, and at times, I mean, I'm not stating anything that's missed. Sometimes a lack of height, I mean, they were a pretty diminutive team at times on the floor, but really just a bunch of hardworking young ladies, and really, I think, showed everybody what they were capable of. What was it like being on that staff last season?
I really enjoyed it. And like you said, we were missing a little bit of height. We were a little bit inexperienced, but we do have such hard workers, and we do have some quickness and some speed and toughness. And Coach Pratt did a great job of pulling that out of those girls. And the style of play that he implemented just worked great for them. And they took it and ran with it, and they were open, and they, like you said, worked hard all the time.
Definitely. And being a part of that staff, I know you saw from day one the work that those girls had to put in, because Coach Pratt was definitely going to get every ounce of energy they could expel on the floor in the amount of game time. And it really did a number on a lot of teams, and the constant pressure. We'll get into strategy with you and Coach Pond here in a little bit, but what was it like for you to kind of watch that as an assistant on that staff, to see the work that was kind of, I hate to say heaped on the girls because they took to it, but obviously it was a new sheriff in town, so to speak.
Yeah, he pushed them hard. He made them work, and they showed up every day willing to do it. I learned a lot from them, and one of the things I learned was that these girls are tough, and you can push them, and they won't break, and they just we talked a lot about just mental toughness, and I saw a lot of them grow in their mental toughness throughout the year, and it only made them better on the court and off the court. So it was a good experience to be able to be a part of that.
For sure. Coach Pond, I tell you, you were an assistant for Grant Givens my first season that I started doing Weatherford basketball, and that would have been, I believe it was Hunter Bayless's senior year. And then you took some time off. Talk about what it was like to step away from coaching during that time, and especially now looking at it that you're back in the fray.
Well, it was a really tough decision. I had some health issues that I needed to take care of, and just some personal things. And it was tough. It's something that I've pretty much done my whole entire adult life, and I did miss it. I've been out of it for 2 years, and so it was a good time for me to take off, and I do feel like I kind of regained my perspective, just by stepping away for a little bit.
For sure.
It's been good for me.
Yeah, and I don't mean to get too personal, but are you and your husband, are you all empty nesters?
We are, and both of our kids live in the Edmond, Piedmont area, and
So
so
I can relate as my wife and I have been empty nesters for a while now, and you do kind of you kind of want to break, but you also kind of look back and say, I'm kind of dealing with it with the sports cast with Right Media. I was doing a daily sports cast. It was a grind, but now that I have more time, it's like, okay, what am I going to do today? So,
yeah,
but you stayed busy with a teaching schedule as well. And,
for sure.
man, anybody that take a bunch of kids on a field trip to DC, kudos to you. So,
Oh, those were a good time.
yeah. But anyways, so Coach Hayworth, you come to Weatherford via a lot of places that you mentioned to me. You have some time in western and southwestern Oklahoma from living in Hobart, but you kind of came here as a Kansas girl, correct?
Correct. Yeah. I grew up in Texas, mostly lived there for about 13 years, moved to Oklahoma, Hobart, where I went 8th grade freshman, sophomore year of high school, then moved up to Kansas, where I played at Circle High School, went to Circle High School in Towanda, Kansas. And then, yeah, spent the past 7 years after college, played 5 years at Emporia State University, or I guess just 1 year after college. And then we moved back here to Weatherford.
Yeah, and you took a husband from Weatherford as well.
I did, yes, Dylan Haworth. We actually met up at Emporia State where he played football, I played basketball, and we met up there. Didn't even know each other, living 45 minutes away when I was down here in Oklahoma. So it was just meant to be us both going up there and meeting.
Outstanding. Coach Pond, you also have a spouse from your college days. Is that correct?
Well, actually, we went to school together, all kindergarten through.
Okay, so you're both both
We're
from
both Oni kids.
Oni kids, yeah. So you come from Oni, and I'll see some stuff on. I was at the game sometime, the Twitter page and their web page, and you were a renowned high school basketball player, and then also you've got quite the background. Talk about you for. I know there's people from Weatherford that know your whole story, but we also have some listeners. Talk about your background and how you came to be in your position as a coach.
Well, as you said, I graduated from Oni and I played basketball for 4 years at Southwestern under Coach Lofton. We won a national championship. We were national runners up and then played in the Final Four my senior year. And I went back home and taught at Bingeroni and coached for 3 years. And then I wound up back in Weatherford as an assistant for Coach Lofton for 2 years. And then I went to Weatherford for 2 years. And then back to Southwestern for 9. And then I got out of it for a little while because my kids were young and I was missing a lot of their stuff. And so I got out for 5 years, and then the middle school needed a coach. I can't remember if that was 2013, 2014, somewhere in there. And I did that for 6 years.
Yeah.
Until
Well,
I moved.
go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
It's okay. I'm good. It's good.
Well, so, and I'll say this, some people who were kind of bringing me along up to speed with Weatherford girls basketball clued me in that a lot of the success that has been recent for Weatherford girls basketball is attributed to you and the work you put in with the junior high programs when you were there. And so, I think a lot of people know what you bring to the table. Coach Hayworth, obviously, this is your first head coaching gig. Talk about what it's like to have somebody like Coach Pond on your staff with you, and somebody who's been in this area for a long time and knows the schools, knows the styles and the coaches and things like that.
Yeah, for sure. I am so lucky to be able to have Coach Pond by my side. It is truly a blessing. They approached me in my interview. They asked if I had anybody as an assistant in mind, and I've only been here for less than a year. So I'm like, no, not really, but we got to find somebody, and they're like, we have somebody in mind. And I was like, okay. And so they told me it would be Coach Pond, and I was like, yes, let's do it. This is going to be awesome because I've heard about her background and just how great she's been. And I'm excited to be able to work with her this year.
Yeah, and I tell you, you're coming from a style where, as we mentioned, it was constant man pressure. Coach Pond, I think you had a fingerprint on some of the pressure styles and things from the previous regime before Coach Pratt. Talk about, and we'll start with you, Coach Haworth. Talk about what your strategy and how you approach the philosophy of the game.
Yeah, so I like to play fast, very similar to what Coach Pratt did last year, play fast and aggressive and man-to-man defense, just being all up on them, pressuring and trying to cause some chaos. And I think that's what's really best for our girls right now. The girls that we have, like you said, we're a little bit small, but we are quick and we can guard the best of them. So that's kind of the approach that we're going to take as well this year.
Yeah. Coach Pond, talk about what you're in the past. Is this style something that you take too easily, or talk about how your strategy and Coach Haworth's strategy intermingle?
Well, absolutely. I'm a man-to-man person all the way, and I do understand there's times that you need to do something different, but man-to-man's my favorite style of defense, and I love to see teams push the ball up the floor and like she said, play fast. So I think I'm really going to enjoy helping this team develop.
Is there any public shaming involved with a coach that hails from Caddo County that employs a zone? Is that anything that's real? Because I've never met anybody who played in Caddo County come out and say that they prefer to go zone. It's like it's man to man all the time in Caddo County.
Yeah, we like to play fast.
That's right. Well, and like we mentioned, last season, this girls team, which they graduated 2 seniors. Unfortunately, one senior was injured at the beginning of the season, and then Andrea Stalder, and then Brinley Glassy was able to. She played in the 101 Bowl last week and did really well. She came a long ways considering she came into her senior year without a lot of experience, and that made me relate to my high school days right there. But so she was a forward who could get out and play man defense. But this year, you're going to really have even that extra gear of speed, Coach Haworth, and talk about obviously Class 4A. Personally, I think Coach Grant Givens had probably 3 of the best teams that maybe Weatherford High School has seen and at his disposal, and it was still tough to get past a lot of the competition in Class 4A and some of the best players that Weatherford's probably had. But talk about the landscape of what you'll have going up in the Class 4A ranks, Coach Haworth.
Yeah, so we are returning 7. So all summer we played with our 7 returners on varsity. We have 10 freshmen coming in, so a big freshman group coming in. But those that were returning, a lot of them got some decent playing time last year, and they're just going to be that much better this year. They've got some experience now under their belt. We're a great group who works together. They all work hard, like we've said multiple times. And we're going to be able to compete regardless who we have coming in. Hopefully we can get some more recruits. We pull some girls from some other sports. I'm working on them, but
yeah,
with what we have right now, they're a bunch of hard workers, and they're going to show up every day and compete no matter who we're playing.
For sure. Coach Pond, I know Coach Haworth has probably had to deal with this a little bit, but I mean, there are other sports where Weatherford has been so successful. I can think of one player last year who opted to not play basketball, and she's extremely talented, but she's such a bigger prospect in another sport. What goes into in the Weatherford school system, being that you have your time there, what goes into talking to these girls and making a program to where they want to come be involved?
Well, and with the specific one you're talking about, she was really focused on getting a college scholarship offer, and you can kind of understand that from her perspective. But I think the kids need to know that they're wanted and they're valued, and I think that goes a long way with the kids.
Yeah, and I guess really I'll just beat around the bush. How do you shift it from being a softball school to back to a basketball school? That's the meat of the question.
Well, I think you get the kids interested at a very young age. You know, when I was coaching middle school, I also did gym rats twice a week at 6:30 in the morning. And we would have 60 kids there, and I did boys and girls. And I think this senior class that's coming up was the last group that I had through gym rats. The Sage twins would
Yeah.
come, CJ would come. So but I think it's important to get those kids interested at an early age.
Coach Hayworth, high school basketball in a situation like in Western Oklahoma, where it's not like the Metro, where they basically have a portal going on at times, and you don't have to comment on that. But, but obviously, in a smaller town, the talent pool can be cyclical. How do you approach each team based on what you see as what the kids are bringing to the table? What is it? How is it you formulate a strategy to make this team as good as they can be?
Yeah, so we stick with the basics early on just to kind of get a feel of who our players are, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, and then just kind of look at what we have as a whole, how we work together. And this team in particular, they're fast, they're athletic, so we're going to use that to their advantage and put them in a position to be successful with the strengths that they have.
Yeah. We're visiting with Callie Hayworth, the new girls head basketball coach for Weatherford High School, and our new assistant, and she is a familiar face, Shelly Pond. And ladies, once again, thanks so much for taking time to visit with us here on Western Oklahoma Sports Night. Coaching can be a nomadic thing, or it can be a situation where you find your spot and you stick around. Coach Pond, obviously you found your place in Weatherford, and other coaches, maybe they're from another location or something like that, but you've probably seen your fair share of coaches come and go from the Weatherford school system. What is it that's kept you here? You and your family here obviously have put down a lot of roots.
Yeah, we've been here since 1997, and I went to college here, and I love the town of Weatherford, and it was a great place to raise kids, and my husband also has a business here, so those are the two main reasons.
Sure. Coach Hayworth, you married a Weatherford guy, and so obviously we can't predict the future, but I mean, does Weatherford seem like a place where you see yourself putting down roots?
Yeah, for sure. We moved here to be closer to his family, and they've been here for a really long time. So we definitely, this year that we've been here, we've loved it, and we're planning to stick around for a while.
Yeah. Just, I don't want to ask a bunch of hard hitting questions, but I mean, what was your reaction when you found out that Coach Pratt was going to be stepping down?
I had kind of, I don't want to say expected it, but I kind of had a feeling he's a guy who he's just always looking for something, he's just so much energy. He's always looking for something new. So I kind of had a feeling it was going to happen.
Yeah. Well, and I wish him luck. Coach Pratt was always good to me and helped me with my duties and things like that. So, if something's got to be a fit on both sides 100%. So obviously if you have a time that you think you need to go, then obviously that's kind of the case. But I'll say this: I'll look at the roster, and like you said, 7 returning starters. And I think some of those players that we saw late in the playoff run really came in and drew on some great minutes. Obviously, looking ahead, I would say everything kind of revolves around Marley Teasley. I mean, she was kind of the go-to player in a lot of spots in the playoffs, and then if we struggled, a lot of times it could kind of be shown because Marley struggled. But in the half court set, obviously when we're able to pressure teams and create turnovers and easy buckets, everything's going great. But in the half court set, what is something that you'll look at taking from last year to kind of implement this year to kind of help with the half court offense?
Yeah. I don't want to give away too much
No,
of my strategy, but yeah, there's times it was very clear times that we struggled to score. And I have a little bit of a different approach as far as offense goes and what kind of continuous motion offense we would run. So implementing that, and then also implementing some set plays. And one thing that I really want to focus on this off season and early on in the season is just skill development and being able to develop these girls into one-on-one players where they can go and create a shot. Just being able to create a shot for ourselves, that'll go far for us.
Yeah, and I'll be straight up. A couple of your point guards, I've said, ladies, you got to develop that Steph Curry teardrop, because if you get too far under the goal, you just where it's going to land. But I tell you, I'm so proud of those girls, and I love the way they work. I guess really, as the play-by-play voice for Weatherford Eagle basketball, is my fear is that these girls play so many other sports. Are you getting in shots during the off season? Are you working on your game? Is that a case that I will go to you, Coach Pond? Is that a case that you see being able to crank up the amperage on that some?
Well, in the past, when I was helping, I felt like the kids got in the gym quite a bit. And it came to the open gyms, or, asked to have it opened up, and we're able to get in, and that's the beauty of Weatherford. It's, it's easier than a place like in the metro to get in a gym and work.
Yeah.
But I feel like the Weatherford kids do a good job of doing that.
Good. That's outstanding, Coach Haworth. And to follow up on that, obviously, I'm sure there's certain roles that the head coach can take throughout the offseason. Have you guys have already done team camp? Is that correct?
We have, yeah. We just finished up our last camp this week.
And how'd that go?
It was good. We went to 3 team camps over the summer: Blanchard, Kingfisher, and Elk City. We ended up Blanchard, we went 4 for 6. Kingfisher 5 for 6, Elk City 4 for 6. So we played very well. And a lot of those games, some of those games, we were missing quite a few girls from going to other sports. So just being able to work around that. But we played really well. I thought we improved a lot. And that's just something we're going to continue to do through the off season going into this next year.
Good deal. I noticed some stuff on social media. I guess they're doing some 3-on-3 things in the evening. I think it was last night, if I saw correctly. 3-on-3, obviously a way to develop individual and one-on-one moves. Is that something that the Tip-In Club is kind of putting on, or is that something you started up, or how did that come to fruition?
That is something that Melissa Navarre has started up, and it's been great. As soon as we got home from Elk City camp last night, all of our girls went to go play 3-on-3. So it's something the kids enjoy, and it's just a really good thing that she started up, and I'm happy that it's here in Weatherford.
Good deal. Coach Pond, you're also the coach of the bass fishing team for Weatherford, and it was a heck of a season last year for the Eagle Anglers.
Yeah, we had, I believe, 5 teams qualified for state, and they showed well at state. And what's tough for us is almost every team we fish against, that's their home lakes. We have Fort Cobb and Foss, and they get to use those Eastern Oklahoma lakes. They can go every day if they want. And so, but I felt like the kids really showed well at the state tournament.
Good deal. Well, and I grew up in northeastern Oklahoma, so yes, there is a lot of water up that way, and a lot of guys that I get a little jealous when I look at social media and see the guys that are retired like I am, and they're out fishing all the time. So, but I could make it down to Foss if I wanted to. So yeah, and and that's a deal that kind of sparked up, and I caught attention of it and wanted to try to give that team some pub, and those kids, they really get into that, and that's outstanding activity for kids to be making trips to other places and getting a line in the water.
Yep, definitely.
Did that just fall to you, or did you tell them you wanted to jump into that?
Well, there was a couple of kids. Well, Boston Bayless and Trendon Payne, they were really wanting to do it. My husband was in. He was like, I'll do it. I'll do it. He needed somebody at the school.
Yeah.
I kept saying, no, 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 no. And then in a moment of weakness, I said, okay. Now here we are.
Well, a lot of time on the water. So anyways, last question, ladies. Coach Haworth, when you're not coaching basketball, when you and your husband have some downtime, what is it? What is the activity that you guys kind of jump into for recreational purposes?
Yeah, well, we have 2 dogs. So we like to hang out with them, take them for walks and stuff. But we've got family, or I've got family that lives all around us. So we love to travel, just hit the road and go see family or go see other things. And so we just really like to get out a little bit and go see everybody.
Who's your favorite NBA team?
Oh, probably the Mavericks.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little rough for them right now. Coach Pond,
Yeah.
you and your husband, I mean, like I said, when you have downtime, obviously you go coach bass fishermen. So, talk about your dogs. Or you said you
Well,
had a dog there with you.
I,
What did you
I
put-
do. I have a Velcro dog. He's a golden doodle and his name is Fenway. And he wants to go everywhere I go. But I love to travel,
Yeah.
and my husband makes fun of me because I'm like, oh, I want to go there. But I just love it. And I do a lot of graphics with
Okay.
pictures and I really, really enjoy that. And I love taking sports pictures.
That's outstanding. And I tell you, we probably could use a graphic for Western Oklahoma Sports Night here before long. If you have a mind, we'll pay you too. So, but no, and talking about traveling, I'm with you there. My wife and I were talking the other night. It's like we really got to start figuring out how we're going to travel some and things like that. And this is the time we should have been doing it, and here I am doing a podcast. But hey, anytime I get a chance to get the new basketball coaches for Weatherford High School girls on, I will take it. So, your favorite basketball NBA team?
I don't like NBA.
Okay, yeah.
I don't like watching it, but if I had to pick a team, I would say the Thunder.
Fenway
Because
is
my
the
son
dog's
keeps
name.
me.
So is that an MLB favoritism there?
Yes, the Boston Red Sox, of course. And that kind of comes from my son's a huge avid baseball fan and he's a big Red Sox fan. So he has a dog named Mookie after Mookie Betts that played there,
Yeah.
got transferred to the Dodgers. But yeah, we named Fenway after Fenway Park.
There you go. Well, that's cool. And those dogs have a lot of personality as well. And they're a lot of fun. So anyways, well, listen, ladies, thank you so much for your time. And we appreciate you making your schedule conducive to come on here on Western Oklahoma Sports Night. I know you both probably have so much going on trying to figure out strategies and go and really, when you think about it and you look at a calendar, the season is just not that far away. And I'm looking forward to it. I always, I will be honest, after the Hoffman sisters and Kennedy Stewart graduated, I was a little wary. I was a little apprehensive about, what's going to happen. And I think it was, I forget who it was in the postseason I interviewed, but they said, maybe it was Brinley. She said, everybody kind of wrote us off like we were done, and they made a great playoff run. So you can never count out the Weatherford Lady Eagles. That's what I found out this last season. So anyways, Coach Haworth, thanks so much for visiting with us. Coach Pond, you as well. And good luck, ladies. We'll talk to you real soon.
Thank
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, no problem. And we will be tuning out. Be sure and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Lawdog Sports. You can tune in to Western Oklahoma Sports Night on YouTube or our SoundCloud page. Thank you to Coach Callie Haworth and Coach Shelly Pond for visiting with us here. I'm Chuck Ramsey, the Lawdog. Be safe out there. Don't text and drive, and sure don't drink and drive, and we'll talk to you down the road.